Why is it so dark? Good morning, everyone. David from Parkinson. Welcome. Is that better? Well, it's a lot better. Okay. Now, got the live on. Now, I think it's private. I don't think I made it public by accident. Let's just go check that so we can get this going. Yeah, I don't know why it's private. Let's change that to public. There we go. So good morning, everyone. It's David from Life with Parkinson's. I'm really glad you're here. This is the second episode in our daily broadcast. Today we're going to talk about Parkinson's and protein. And I'm really excited to be here. I'm planning to be here as many mornings as possible at this time, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm here to talk about your questions and concerns about Parkinson's disease. Really, I'll answer any question at all. Okay, I'm back. Okay, guys, I'm back. I'm so sorry. I had to restart my computer. Hopefully that takes care of my connection issues. I'm so sorry we went down there for a while, but I don't know what's going on. It's not bad weather here or anything. It's perfectly fine. But okay, yeah. Let's get back to the live stream and why we're here. Okay, so we've been talking about Parkinson's and protein, and I wanted to explain how my life is just changed a little bit. So the thing is, I've had to adopt the protein redistribution diet. I'm just going to turn my vest on. I'm getting a little bit of dyskinesia, and it's getting annoying. Let's check it. There we go. Hopefully that settles it down quick. Yeah, so I've had to adopt the protein redistribution diet. So now I've split my protein into two segments. One I have at nighttime around 8 o'clock at night. I'll have fish, eggs, and some beef broth just so I get some amino acids in me. So I figured that's around 40 to 50 grams of protein. And the other time is now in the morning, which I've been trying to figure out the last few days how to fit it in. And it's Thursday today, and this is the first successful day this week where I fit in some protein for breakfast. And that was at 4:30 a.m. today. So yeah, those are my two times of the day I can eat protein. The rest of the time, I'm having fruit, vegetables, mainly carbohydrates through the day, and there is not a thing I can do about it. And the other thing that I've learned lately is about oxalates. I met a nutritionist through content creation who asked me if I wanted to talk to her about what's been going on. I'm like, oh, please. Yes, please. Thank you so very, very much. And one of the issues I've had that's been fueling my dyskinesia majorly is a compound called oxalate, which is found in a lot of foods that we eat. Okay, this is just getting too hot. I'm gonna turn this thing off and take it off. I'm just cooking myself. One sec. You can boil a little egg. Oh my goodness. Cooking myself like a boiled egg there. Yeah, so I've had to split my protein into 2 segments throughout the day. And then I spoke to a nutritionist who explained to me about oxalates. And that's why I put that video out about the spinach. Because spinach has so much oxalate in it, it is just bananas. Just crazy how much there is in spinach. And now that I've cut spinach out, I feel way better. Way, way better. Okay, I think we should talk about, we've got almost an hour left. So let's talk about another blog, unless you have some questions you want to ask me, which is fine. We're just talking about Parkinson's and protein today. I'm planning to be here roughly 5 or 6 days a week in the morning about this time, just to talk about life with Parkinson's in general. So if you have any questions or comments, throw them in the chat below. I would be happy to answer them and talk about them. Okay. Dealing with some dyskinesia issues this morning. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's grab another blog to talk about. There we go. Okay, so we talked about Parkinson's and protein. And today we've had some connection issues, which is just brutal. But we just keep going. Because what does it matter? Okay. Come on, there we go. Come on, fingers. Okay, I know the blog I'm talking about. 8 years with Parkinson's. What's changed? Let's talk about this blog. Okay, and I'll just pop the address in the comments below so you can follow along if you like. 1 second. Okay, we'll copy that. I'll put that into the comments and pin it in the chat. There we go. So that is the blog post we're going to talk about. I pinned it in the chat for you, so if you want to follow along. But basically, we're going to talk about, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's 8.5 years ago. And we're going to talk about what's changed. What have I noticed over 8 years with Parkinson's? Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinson's. If you're new here, welcome. And everyone else, thank you for your continued love and support. When I look back at all the changes I've gone through since diagnosis day 8 years ago, there's really one thing I can say. Wow. Wow. What's happened the last 8 years? Oh my goodness. Today I want to talk about 3 life changes I had to accept just to keep my sanity and my mentality together while living with this chronic illness. And remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a person with Parkinson's trying to pass on the information as best as I can. So there's a quote in here that Mark Twain once said, "Comparison is the death of joy." And someone left that quote in a comment a few months ago, and it's really stuck with me because I just couldn't describe my experience any better. Every year when my diagnosis anniversary rolls around, I find myself reflecting on how far I've come. And sometimes that reflection gets painful. I look back and feel a little bit like a little disappointed. My symptoms have progressed a bit more. My resilience feels a bit weaker, and suddenly I'm in this poor me mindset, thinking about everything I've lost. That's usually when my wife Haley steps in and pulls me together so I can keep moving forward. The truth is, looking back is self destructive. Mark Twain nailed it. If I compare myself to who I used to be, I'll always pick the old me. Pre diagnosis Dave. Oh, yeah, I'd love to have him back because that version could work overtime, earn more money, get up and walk whenever he wanted to, even hold his bladder without thinking twice. Who wouldn't want that version back? But here's the problem, no one else is walking backwards. Everyone's moving forward, and I've got to go that way too. It's not easy. Some days I still find myself glancing over my shoulder. Well, not too far. I can't turn my head the whole way anymore. But I remind myself that living in the past only drains me. So when I ask who I am now, the answer is simple. I'm a person with Parkinson's, fighting as hard and as deep as I can every day to appreciate the moments I have, learning to live with less. The first life expectation I had to change was around money. But when I was diagnosed at 43, I was the main income earner for our family. Haley stayed home with the kids, and that was always something I was proud of. I could work overtime, provide for us, and we were managing just fine. But when you suddenly hear the words, "you have Parkinson's," it's like someone saying, "Okay, start preparing for retirement right now." I remember thinking, are you kidding me? I'm only 43. Yet that's what happened. We did the best we could, and I'm proud of what we did, but I won't lie. Our disposable income went down a lot. With inflation rising, the cost kept climbing, and the money kept shrinking. When you're living on a fixed disability pension, there's not a lot of flexibility. You keep cutting back, then cutting back some more until you start wondering what's even left to cut. If you figured that out, let me know what's left to cut. And I would really like to know. But financial loss wasn't the only thing I had to learn to live with. After my diagnosis, Haley started noticing changes before I did. She'd tell me I'd come home from work, eat dinner, and go right to bed. Straight to bed. And not the good kind of nap, the kind where you sleep a couple hours and wake up just as exhausted as before. And that was the start of my chronic fatigue sneaking in. Fatigue, depression, and apathy, the 3 big enemies. The energy problem, ATP, and the fight against fatigue. I spent a lot of time trying to understand what was happening to my energy levels. And in my opinion, it all boils down to something called adenosine triphosphate, ATP. If you've been following me for a while, you've probably heard me talk about it before. I believe ATP is the most important thing we can learn about with Parkinson's. I used to go for a 1 kilometer loop walk around my complex. At first, I'd start strong. Then halfway through, I'd get tired. By the 3 quarter mark, I was dragging myself home. By the time I stumbled through the front door, I was done, utterly exhausted. Eventually, I learned the problem wasn't just Parkinson's. It was my body wasn't officially producing and delivering ATP to recharge my cells. Once I started working on that, things began to change. Now I can walk up to 4 kilometers in the morning and sometimes 4 more in the afternoon. It didn't happen overnight. It took persistence and consistency, but it happened. If you want to learn more about ATP and how it can help, check out other videos about energy on this channel. The curse of free time. Oh my goodness, what a big curse. Here's the big one. When you retire early because of Parkinson's, you suddenly have a lot of free time. And if you're not careful, that time can become your worst enemy. For me, it started with addiction behaviors. I got hooked on a cell phone game some time ago. It was embarrassing. I couldn't stop playing. And it happened fast. If you think addiction can't happen to people with Parkinson's, trust me, it can. And if you or someone you care for is struggling with addictive behavior, reach out. Caregivers, this goes for you too. Check in, ask questions, and step in early. Thankfully, Haley helped me break that cycle, and I'll always be grateful for that. The second battle that comes with too much free time is apathy. I've used a day timer for years to organize my days, but sometimes I make a list and look at it and feel overwhelmed before I even start. The tasks are small, maybe 10 to 15 minutes each, but in that moment they feel huge. And when I get through them, the next day the list feels just as heavy again. That's the tricky part about apathy. It sneaks in quietly and makes everything seem harder than it is. And then there's depression. Thankfully, it's not something I'm battling right now, but when it comes, it usually comes because I've been sitting too long, thinking too much about the past. Like Mark Twain said, comparison is the death of joy. So I've learned that the key to managing free time is staying mindful, keeping my thoughts and focus in the present. Fighting back. There are lots of tools to fight back against all of this. For me, it starts with diet. When I eat well, I feel well. A healthy diet lifts my mood, stabilizes my energy, and gives me purpose. The second is exercise. I can't stress this enough. Exercise affects all of our symptoms in a positive way. And I believe that exercise is the only thing that does. It affects our entire body in a positive way. It's the only thing I know that does. Medication doesn't cover everything. In fact, it covers very little. So if there's one message I want to leave with you, it's this. Keep moving forward. Even if it's slow, even if it's small, it matters. Sometimes I find myself crawling forward. And if that's all you can do some days, I don't blame you. I totally understand. Just don't move backwards. Backwards is the wrong way. Okay, there's that blog. Are there any questions or comments about that? Anything you want to ask? Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, it's strange every year to come around to my Parkinson's anniversary because I look back and I'm like, okay, I've done really well. There's not many changes over, year 7 to year 8 or year 6 to year 7. But when I look back from year 8 to year 1, I'm like, wow. In year 1, I was still working full time, 40 to 50, 40 to 50 hours a week, driving everywhere. And then, coming home and doing chores or going out and doing more stuff through the rest of the evening. And now, now I don't go to work. I've got all day to, I don't really want to say putter around because I try and keep a purpose to everything to do. But yeah, I putter around and sometimes I get tired from things I wouldn't have found tiring in the past. And it's really, really strange to be like that and to do that. So yeah, comparison is the death of joy. It really, the way we look at ourselves really does affect who we are and how we feel about it. So if you've got any comments or questions, let me know. I can pick out another blog for us to talk about until we do get some questions and comments. Just a reminder, I'm planning to be here every morning, 5-6 days a week. Over the next this weekend I'm going away though, so I won't be here. My son-in-law is taking me hunting, which I'm really, really excited about. Very excited to go hunting. Okay. Here's a good one. 3 mistakes I made accepting caregiving help with Parkinson's and what I learned. I mean, yeah, if you do have any questions about our topic today about Parkinson's and protein, let me know. We've talked about that for a while amidst all the connection issues that we've had. So yeah, I'll just talk about it briefly. So basically, I'm having problems with protein interacting with my L-DOPA medication. And so what I've had to do to survive that, and it's been a struggle. It really has been. I mean, I've had so many dystonia attacks over it, just trying to figure out the timing. I've had so many jaw attacks over it. Sometimes they're scary because they make it hard to breathe. And when you can't breathe, you start to panic. And it's just been, today is the first morning. I've been trying to do this broadcast all week. And yesterday was the first day I did it. But yesterday I still had dystonia problems because I've just been trying to figure out when do I have my protein in the morning, because I need to split up my protein half in the morning and half at bedtime. So today I had my protein at 4:30 this morning, went back to bed, fell back to sleep, which I'm really grateful for. And then at 6:30 I took my pills, and yeah, I came on about 7 o'clock, which was really nice. But yeah, I tried Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's been a bit of a struggle, but now I know I can get up, have breakfast at 4:30, go back to bed, wake up again at 6:30, take my pills, and then I'll be okay. And then I can do this live broadcast every morning, which I've been wanting to do for a while. So yeah, I'm planning to be here 5 or 6 days out of the week, every morning at 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, I'm going to be here to answer your questions, and we can chat and interact. And I've got lots of plans, but I just need to wait till more people realize that this is happening. And I think as more people realize, more people will join in and become part of the conversation. And I'm really excited about that. So that's what's going on. And then at bedtime at 8 o'clock at night, I'm able to have fish, eggs, and beef broth, which is really nice. So yeah, since I've been having the beef bone broth, I've felt definitely a lot better and a lot stronger. So it's been definitely an improvement. Yeah, and I'm really pleased about seeing the amount of people popping in and out. Yeah, there's definitely some more interest in what's going on here than yesterday. So that's really good. Okay, so this blog post we're going to talk about, I'm just going to pin it in the chat. So if you want to follow along, you can. Copy, and I'll just come back to you guys. Pop it in the chat. Here it is. This is what we're going to talk about next. I'll pin it for you. Pin it to win it. There we go. Message pinned. Okay, so this one is what I really like. 3 mistakes I made accepting help with Parkinson's and what I learned. And yeah, accepting help can be really difficult, I feel. because of, well, for me, it's pride. I've always taken pride in the fact that I'm a strong man. I can do what I want, whenever I want. But, Parkinson's doesn't really allow that anymore. And it's really hard for me to give up on that. And that's just who I am. I am what I am. So I'm just going to check here. Okay. 3 mistakes I made accepting caregiving help with Parkinson's and what I learned. Sorry, I'm just thinking about a lot of memories. Memories of when I should have accepted help from Haley and I didn't. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The stuff I got myself into. It's just crazy. Parkinson's disease brings with it a whole range of changes. Some are surprisingly easy to live with, while others are far more difficult to accept. When I was first diagnosed, I never imagined how much it would reshape not just my daily routines, but also my relationships and the way I saw myself. Okay, the reason I'm laughing so hard here is because the first time I should have asked for help. Okay, so let me rewind and start the story where I really need to start it. Have you ever noticed that when your pills just start to work, like you've taken your pills at 7, and now it's almost 10 o'clock, so it's time for another dose. You take your pills, whatever, you get comfortable on the couch or on a chair or whatever, put your feet up, and then 20, 30 minutes later, the pills start to work, but you still can't walk. It's not time to walk yet, but you have to go pee. And it's just like, come on, body. I mean, are you serious? And then, so one time I tried to make it to the bathroom, and when I knew I was too off, and I just ended up laying down on my stomach, and I couldn't get up, and I went pee there. I had no choice. Yeah, the stuff I get myself into. Okay, over the years, Haley and I have learned a lot about navigating this journey together, and I want to share some of those lessons here in particular. This piece focuses on the mistakes I made when I first started accepting caregiving help from Haley. Mistakes I hope others can avoid. Acceptance does not mean giving up. There's a quote from Michael J. Fox that has really guided me, and I find it's very applicable to this story. And he said, acceptance does not mean resignation. It means understanding that something is what it is, and there's got to be a way through it. And those words resonate with me because they come from someone who truly understands what living with Parkinson's feels like. Accepting my situation never meant surrendering or giving up the fight. It simply meant recognizing reality so I could face it head on. Once the shock and denial faded about my diagnosis, I learned that life goes on. We still have a whole life to live. Parkinson's may change the terrain, but it doesn't take away the journey. Acceptance helped me shift from fear to action, from resisting the inevitable to finding ways through it. I've lived with Parkinson's for 8 years now. In that time, I've been shocked, angry, and heartbroken. I've also learned that even with the disease, life keeps moving. We still have our whole lives to live. Once the denial and the fear began to fade, I realized that I could either keep resisting the inevitable or I could find a way through it. Okay, mistake number 1, waiting too long to accept help. My first mistake in accepting caregiving help from Haley was simple but costly. I waited too long. Denial had its grip on me, and it caused real problems. I've come to believe denial is a natural human emotion. It shields us, at least at first, from the shock of a sudden life change. And Parkinson's hits hard and fast. One moment you're sitting in a doctor's office hearing the words, Parkinson's disease, and 15 minutes later you're out walking with a prescription for levodopa and a 6-month follow-up appointment. Of course it's overwhelming. Of course it's traumatic. Denial springs up and almost automatically tries to protect you. But denial can be like a tsunami wave. Just picture sitting on the beach, enjoying a rare holiday. You feel the ground tremble. The water starts to recede, and people around you are running. They're running away, but you're still sitting there telling yourself nothing's wrong until the wave appears on the horizon, and by the time you see it, it's too late. That's exactly how my denial felt. I told myself I could handle everything on my own until the day came when I couldn't. It took me laying in two separate puddles of my own pee, different days, same reality, before I finally admitted I needed help. Parkinson's can change your abilities in an instant. One day I could walk to the bathroom without a second thought. The next day I'd be frozen halfway down the hallway, staring at the toilet, unable to even sit down. 10 minutes 10 minutes I'd be lying on the couch. 10 minutes later, I could be up walking around like nothing happened. It's mind-boggling how quickly things shift. If I could go back, I'd accept Haley's help sooner. Denial only prolonged my suffering and delayed the relief and safety that her support could have provided. Don't wait too long like I did. Don't keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome. When I finally let go of my denial and accepted help, our home life and my life became so much more peaceful. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, when we don't ask for help, sometimes it can get just crazy. Mistake number 2, taking my anger out on my caregiver. My second mistake was getting angry at the situation. Of course, I was angry. Parkinson's disease had turned my world upside down, and everything was changing faster than I could keep up with. But there's one thing: I ended up focusing my anger on Haley. And looking back, I know that was wrong. I'm not making excuses, but I've noticed that when we're struggling, we often take our frustration out on the person closest to us. Wouldn't you agree? It just wasn't fair to Haley. She was the one caring for me every day, loving me, helping me navigate a life that suddenly become unpredictable. Yet there I was, venting my anger toward her. It's like shooting yourself in the foot over and over and over again. Why anger happens? I think anger comes from two main places. First, our life isn't meeting our expectations. I had imagined a life where things were manageable, maybe even fun, where Parkinson's wasn't part of the plan. But life doesn't always work out that way. It hits hard, and it can feel like a betrayal. Second, our hopes can get shattered. All the plans I had, dreams for retirement, hopes for what our life together would be like in our golden years, they suddenly felt impossible. Parkinson's had thrown them off course, and with that came anger, frustration, and grief. Facing reality. Even though I tried to deny it, telling myself it's not Parkinson's disease, it's not that bad, the reality was unavoidable. I had to face it, and with that reality came feelings I didn't always know how to handle. Where do you put the anger? I honestly didn't know all the time. The lesson learned, but I know this: it should never have been aimed at Haley. She's the one who loves me, cares for me, and helps me keep moving forward. When I did misplace my anger onto her, I felt terrible, and I still do when I think back on it. Mistake number 3, underestimating what our relationship could become. My third mistake in accepting caregiving help from Haley was that I didn't truly see the potential of our relationship. I let my preconceptions guide me. I thought I would always be tough Dave, the guy who powered through everything with youthful energy. In my 20s and 30s, that mindset worked. Even in my early 40s, before my diagnosis at 43, I relied on sheer will and determination to tackle any challenge. Parkinson's disease slowly whittles that energy away. I realized there are limits to what we can do on sheer force alone. At first, I couldn't see past the loss, the old life I thought I would continue living. I grieved for that life, for the plans and the routines that were suddenly gone. The grief felt deeply personal, almost like losing someone very close to me, grieving the life we lost. I came to understand that grieving our old lives is a necessary part of moving forward. It's about acknowledging the pain, the dashed hopes, and the sudden changes. Only by facing that grief could I start to let go of anger and denial. It was a step toward acceptance, not giving up, but understanding the reality of our situation, seeing the new possibilities. As I allowed myself to move past my preconceptions, I began to see the beauty in what was emerging. Haley's caregiving wasn't just practical support, it was a deeply loving and tender expression of her. Her patience, compassion, and attentive revealed a depth to our relationship I hadn't recognized before. Acceptance opens the door. Acceptance, truly seeing our reality, helped me embrace a richer connection with Haley. It showed me that there's a more relaxing, more meaningful way to live with Parkinson's. I can't believe I didn't see it sooner. But how could I have? Living this life day by day has taught me there's always a way through. As Michael J. Fox said, there's got to be a way through it. And this, I believe, is the way through, by letting the relationship grow and letting love and care guide us. Living with Parkinson's disease is a journey full of unexpected twists, challenges, and lessons. Looking back, the mistakes I made and accepting help from Haley taught me more than I could have imagined. Waiting too long, misplacing my anger, and understanding what our relationship could become all caused unnecessary pain for both of us. But through these experiences, I've learned that acceptance is not surrender. It's a conscious choice to see reality clearly, to face it honestly, and to find a way through it. Haley's caregiving has been a source of strength, tenderness, deep connection. By embracing her help, I've discovered a more meaningful way to live, and one that is not defined solely by Parkinson's, but by the relationships, love, and moments we continue to share. If there's one message I hope comes through, it's this: don't let pride, denial, or fear hold you back. Accept support, communicate openly, and allow yourself to grow alongside the person who cares for you. Life with Parkinson's is unpredictable, but there's always a way forward. And sometimes that way is made easier by leaning on the people who you love the most. Oh, I like that blog a lot. I definitely like that one very, very much. And if you've got a comment or a question, throw it in the chat. I'd be happy to answer. I'd be happy to chat with you about anything that's on your mind, anything to do with Parkinson's disease at all. If not, I will pick out one more blog for us to go through. Yeah, we've got time for one more. Yeah, I definitely recognize your name from TikTok. Good to see you. And I'm just wondering what the delay is, like what the latency is from when. Oh, we can figure that out next time. Okay, I'm going to pick out one more blog post. And yeah, I probably won't. I have to eat. Yeah, I have eaten too much food. Oh no. Oh no, that is the worst. Yeah, I've been trying to do this broadcast all week, and today's Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, I wasn't able to do it at all because I had my protein too close to my first dose of medication. And today, so it took me 4 tries. Like today, I got up at 4:30 and had my breakfast and protein, and then I went back to sleep. And I got up again at 6:30 and took my pills. Flame, oh really? Flame is under your feet now, so it makes your feet hot. That does make sense. Let's go to the Parkinson's and protein blog. I remember seeing that in the blog we first talked about. Parkinson's and protein. Remember them talking about, where is it? Here it is. No, that's not it. Parkinson's and protein things. 3 things you need to know. I remember that being a symptom, hot feet or something. Fatigue. Yeah. So okay, so here we go. Okay, Dave, what has changed in your Parkinson's treatment plan? Okay, let's talk about this blog. I will share this in the chat below so we can talk about this. Yeah, I know, that's okay. If you're having problems typing this, no problem at all. No problem at all. We totally understand. So we're going to talk about this blog post here. I've pinned it in the chat below, so you can follow along if you'd like. Dave, what has changed in your Parkinson's treatment plan? So this is the first video in my 8 series, just basically talking about what's changed. And this is shortly after I found out I was out of options for Parkinson's treatment, something that's had a big impact on my life. You are out of options for Parkinson's treatment. Common theme that I've been hearing, not just online through this channel, but from people with other chronic diseases. And it is often this term or phrase or something similar after they see their doctor or specialist. I'm sorry, there's nothing more that I can do to help you. Receiving that news from a healthcare professional can be a crushing blow to a patient and can cause unneeded pain and suffering. A safety net needs to be put in for those that receive this horrible news. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, they definitely need to put in a safety net for that. Okay, what's happened here? What's going on? I thought I was on the right place. Oh, I think I see what I need to do. Hey, sorry guys. Okay. Okay, we're going to talk about something different because that blog just isn't. Oh, thank you, Slacy's. I really appreciate that. You've inspired me, so don't give up. Oh no, I'm not giving up. Definitely not giving up at all. I'm just trying to pick out a blog for us to go through, but it's just not working out. Every time I click on something, it goes to the wrong place. I've recently had the website redone, so I think everything's kind of still needs to be sorted out. And there's definitely some links that definitely need to be fixed up. Yeah, so for anybody watching now or just rewatching this, yeah, I'm planning to be here 5 or 6 days a week, every morning around 7:30 Pacific Standard Time in the morning. But this weekend, for the next few days, I'm going hunting with my son-in-law. So I should be able to do the broadcast tomorrow morning, but definitely not on Saturday. Definitely not on Saturday. Hopefully I'll be back like the 12th or the 13th, but I'm not really sure. We're having our windows replaced next week, so the house could be in chaos quite a bit next week as well. But yeah, I'll do this every day that I can. And I'm really excited about doing this. really excited about doing this broadcast. And there's been a lot of people through today, which has been really, really nice. So, do I read books? Yeah, I read books, Lay says. I've been trying to read, I did a book review a little while ago, and I've been trying to read another book that they've done. I've got it right here. I've been trying to read this book, Parkinson's Plan, but I recently had my prescription of my glasses redone, and the reading glasses I got from them are just a little too powerful, like just a little too strong. If they were a little bit easier on the eyes, then it would be easier to read. But I'm going to try again soon. But yeah, I don't read a lot of books. I just don't have the time. In between doing channel stuff, making videos, chatting to people, and I'm trying to keep up with the comments on the channel too. But it's just the videos are reaching such a good audience lately. The amount of comments I get, it makes it so hard to answer them all. But I'm really, really trying. Okay. Okay, so why don't we go through the book review then? That's not a bad idea. Slays Hayes has. So let's go. Book review, Ending Parkinson's Disease. I'll just pin this in the chat, and this will be the last blog that we go through together, because we're almost out of time for today. There we go. So I just pinned it in the chat below. This will be the last one we go through for today. Book review, Ending Parkinson's Disease. Just broke a nail. This past Christmas, I received a gift that turned out to be far more than just a book. It was a wake-up call, a challenge, and a roadmap all rolled into one. The book is called Ending Parkinson's Disease, a prescription for action, and it's written by 4 leading doctors who have spent their careers on the front lines of the Parkinson's battle. If a book with one big question, what could we do? What can we do? When I opened Ending Parkinson's Disease, the authors were asking a question I've been asking myself for years. What can we, as a society, actually do to turn this around? Parkinson's is now the fastest growing neurological condition in the world, and that's a terrifying statement, and one that deserves more attention than it's getting. But we're not talking about a rare disease anymore. We're talking about something that's starting to overwhelm not just individuals, but entire healthcare systems. The authors have built this book on a 25-point roadmap for society to follow. They lay out everything from policy changes and environmental awareness to patient advocacy and community support. And honestly, it couldn't be any simpler. The roadmap is there. We just have to follow it. What really surprised me is how the authors didn't stop at writing. Ending Parkinson's disease is part of a much larger movement. There's a companion website, a YouTube channel, and even a documentary that goes along with it. It just isn't a book, it's a living, evolving project meant to keep the conversation going. First impressions, 4 authors, 1 voice. When I first picked up the book, I had a few worries. 4 authors, all doctors, 2 with PhDs? I'll be honest, I was expecting something dense and academic. I pictured myself sitting there at the table with a ruler, a highlighter, and a dictionary just to get through the first chapter. But I was wrong. The writing is clear, concise, and well organized. The flow between chapters is surprisingly natural, and each section builds logically on the one before it. Despite being a nonfiction, research-heavy work, it reads smoothly, like a conversation guided by people who care deeply about making their point accessible. Sure, there were moments when I felt the pacing slow down a bit, but in hindsight, I realized it needed to. They are doctors. They're not just writing to entertain, they're writing to convince. And to do that, they build airtight, bulletproof arguments backed by hundreds of references, studies, and statistics. If anything, my impatience said more about me than the book. Since being diagnosed with Parkinson's, I noticed I can be more impatient. I want answers now. But as I kept reading, I started appreciating the care the authors took in building their case point by point. They weren't just writing, they were constructing trust. Easter eggs of insight. One of the most delightful surprises about ending Parkinson's disease is how it's sprinkled with what I'd call Easter eggs. Small, fascinating bits of information tucked into unexpected places. In chapter 1, for instance, there's a story about Dr. James Parkinson himself, the man who first described this disease over 200 years ago. Wow, 200 years. I won't spoil it for you, but let's just say it gave me a new perspective on the name that defines so much of our lives. So in 200 years, it's gone from a very obscure rare disease to being the fastest growing condition in the entire planet. That's fast. That's quick. What really surprised me was how boldly the authors challenged the conventional narrative around Parkinson's. We've all heard the same promises before, that a cure is just around the corner, then another corner, then another. But the authors don't buy into that false hope bus service, as I like to call it. They don't promise miracles. Instead, they offer something more powerful: truth and action. They carefully explore whether a cure is even the best thing to hope for right now. And that idea floored me at first. But as they explained their reasoning, focusing on prevention, better care, and environmental reform, it started to make sense. Their conclusions about Parkinson's care, research collaboration, and the pace of progress are sometimes hard to hear, but necessary. Their honesty is refreshing. Pulling back the curtain on the research world, one section that really caught my attention was their insight into how researchers collaborate or don't. The book reveals surprising details about the day-to-day collaboration levels in the research community and how limited information sharing can slow progress. It's something most of us outside the lab rarely think about. That peek behind the curtain made me appreciate even more the need for unity, not just among patients and caregivers, but among scientists, organizations, and policymakers. Yeah, they could really speed things up if they would share their research a lot more widely. The pesticide connection. Another area where the authors excel is explaining the link between Parkinson's and environmental toxins, especially pesticides and industrial chemicals like trichloroethylene. They take what could be easily overwhelming scientific data and explain it in plain language so anyone can understand the scale of the problem. Reading about how these toxins have seeped into our soil, water, and air is sobering, and it's just not people with Parkinson's who should care. These chemicals affect everyone. A roadmap for action. By the time I reached the last chapters, I realized the authors weren't just educating us, they were calling us to action. Their 25-point roadmap includes names, emails, and contact info for policymakers and organizations that can make change happen. It's a complete guide for anyone who wants to advocate for the Parkinson's community in the United States. I can only hope that one day Canada and other countries will adopt similar frameworks so that advocacy can expand globally. The roadmap isn't a wish list, it's a blueprint for change. There we go. Okay, I think I'm going to head off, guys. I think almost made it through the 90 minutes today. I'm starting to get kind of tired and slurring my words a little bit. So I think I'm going to sign off and end the stream. But I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, I totally get it. Says. I definitely. You react to Wi-Fi. That's interesting. But yeah, I definitely need to sign off. I'm going off here, and I'll be back again tomorrow morning about 7:30. That's my plan. Okay, so he says, thanks for saying hi, and I hope to see you tomorrow morning. And everybody else, you have a good day as well. Bye.